Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the National Launch for Core Canada. My name is Rob Miyashiro, and I'm the Executive Director of the Lethbridge Senior Citizens Organization in Lethbridge, Alberta. I'm also part of the Alberta Age-Friendly Communities of Practice, and furthermore, I'm a member of the Pan-Canadian Age-Friendly Communities Reference Group. So like you, my career and my work is about helping seniors. I want to thank everybody for attending today, because you're going to be part of something that is special and something that is unique in service collaborations across the country. I've been lucky enough to work with some of the smartest, most engaged people I know in helping develop the Core Alberta over the last year. And it's not just a website. It's not just another thing you click on. It's a platform for engagement. It's a platform for sharing information. It's a platform for educating each other about the kind of work we do and the direction we want to move the senior sector in. So I think you're gonna enjoy what you hear today, and as Core Canada rolls out, to be able to engage with each other on this platform. A couple of things that I just want to tell you before I forget, because I always forget to do these kinds of things. I just want you to remember that everyone should remain muted and their cameras off during this presentation. There'll be a short media question and answer period at the end. Media representatives will be unmuted at this point and can raise their hands to ask questions. This event is recorded and posted on Healthy Aging Core Canada. As well, that impactful video that we just saw will be played at the end of this program. One of the things that I just want you to remember when you're watching this program today is that think of how you can contribute to the success of Core Canada. It's not just somebody else doing it. It's what can you do to be a part of it? People that are part of the not-for-profit senior sector, people that are part of government, people that are from education institutions. Those are the people that we need to engage in different ways than you've engaged before in order to help serve seniors better. So rather than me ramble on and on endlessly, which has happened when you give, the other thing, I'm a second term city council member from Lethbridge. So you don't give councillors unlimited mic time without giving them some direction. So the first person I'd like to welcome is Carrie Baisley. Carrie is currently Missioner of Indigenous Justice with the Anglican Church in Vancouver, and he recently retired as Director of Client Relations and Risk Management with Vancouver Coastal Health. And I also want to say that Carrie is well accomplished in a number of areas, but he is so humble that's all he gave us for a biography. So Carrie, on to you. Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks, Rob. So my name is Carrie Baisley. I'm a citizen of the Métis Nation, British Columbia. My maternal Métis heritage comes from the Cree-speaking people of northern Manitoba. My paternal Métis heritage comes from the Gaelic-speaking people originating from the Orkneys. I'm speaking to you today from the unsurrendered homeland of the Coast Salish nations, including the territories of the Squamish, the Musqueam, and the Tsleil-Waututh. Before we begin today's session, let's take a deep breath. Now, one of the latest books says that you should have taken that breath through your nose. That was our warm-up exercise. Now, take that deep breath through your nose, and as you exhale, be aware of the community and land around you. If you know the name of the Indigenous nation who lived on this land for generations, say thank you. Be thankful for the hospitality and generosity of those Indigenous, Inuit, and Métis people who have inhabited these lands for generations. It's their hospitality that enables all of us to live, play, and thrive in this place we currently call Canada. The Métis and many others start a day or a gathering by giving thanks. Thanks to the Creator for the gift of life and the abilities we've been given. Thanks to Mother Earth for all the non-human persons we share the earth with, those that fly, swim, walk, and crawl. We also remember those who have passed and those who are living through difficult times. We hold up those who are on the front lines of care and support. We're celebrating the launch of Core Canada today. CORE Canada stands for Collaboration, Online Resources, and Education. The goal is the work of successful aging. May this be another tool of resource and support for us on this in a good way. Honestly, technology and I are not friends. We're more like acquaintances, but I would suggest maybe that we look at CORE in a different way, expanded way. Think of the O as a circle, and around that are community, resilience, and engagement. For Métis people and Indigenous people, our world is a web of relationships and reciprocity, where we are related to the earth, the plants, mountains, and all other living beings. When Indigenous people close a prayer or a greeting, we usually use the words, all my relations. It's to acknowledge our relatedness to the creation, our ancestors, our living relatives, and those future generations. May this be an event that expands our awareness of and care for each other, all our relations.
Thank you very much, Carrie. That was very heartwarming. Now we're sorry. I thought there was a slide coming up here. I missed something. Sorry about that, guys. Speaking of technology, there we go. So we had some quotes from a number of different people from across the country. And we have a quote from Laura Tamlin-Watts, President and CEO from CanAge. Coincidentally, Laura and I were panelists on a Urban Institute of Canada discussion on COVID and seniors sometime back last year. And Laura said the need to communicate and coordinate efforts in support of healthy aging is more important than ever. CORE Canada will make it easier for those of us working in support of the well-being of older Canadians to connect and work together at multiple levels, local, provincial, territorial, and national, and across nonprofit, government, and academic sectors. I'd like now to introduce Kahir Lalji, the Provincial Director of Population Health with the United Way of Lower Mainland and the Executive Director of United Way Southern Interior BC. Kahir is a gerontologist with a Master's of Gerontology from Simon Fraser University, is also a fellow in developmental leadership and evaluation. With 15 plus years of nonprofit leadership experience, Kahir has gained a deep understanding of community and partnership and engagement and development, and has curated effective long-standing collaboration with all levels of government, civil society organizations, research institutions, and others. Kahir serves on the board of directors for HelpAge Canada and BC 211, or 211, is the president of the board of directors for British Columbia Original Minds Association, is on the advisory board of Aging 2.0, and is a member on the Aga Khan Health Board for Canada. Kahir's leadership in connecting and strengthening the network of community-based seniors serving organizations in BC has inspired collaborative efforts in that province and beyond, all in support of older adults' well-being and aging in place. Kahir.
Thank you very much, Rob. It's always interesting hearing people talk about you, but thanks for those words, Rob. I want to start off by thanking and recognizing the hundreds of collaborators, partners, and contributors who have come together to enhance and strengthen the vital connections which are so important amongst the nonprofit community, but also amongst the communities in which we live, from coast to coast to coast. I also want to start off by recognizing the diversity of idea generation, the diversity of thought leadership. I want to recognize the generosity of time, of talent, of treasures and resources that over the last couple of years have come together, all in supporting organizations to do the incredible work that they do in and out, day in and day out across the country, in keeping older Canadians connected, engaged, and active in their communities, which they call home. Whether it's a village of 298 or a metropolitan area of a population of over 1 million. Organizations across the country work tirelessly to provide all types of essential frontline service to those that require a little bit more help. The core platform was really intended to, amongst all that we've heard so far, reflect the Canadian values of diversity, of collaboration, of connection, and knowledge sharing, all in service to empowering, connecting, and coordinating the thousands of nonprofit community-based agencies across the country who day in and day out make personal sacrifices, all in service to enhancing the quality of life of older Canadians. This last year forced us into innovation, and it resulted in what I would say are several COVID legacies. The pandemic also amplified the need for many sectors, and in particular the nonprofit sector, the community-based sector, to come together to learn, to cross-pollinate, to share, and to collaborate so that we are able to provide programs and supports in the most effective way possible to those that require that support. And CORE, we feel, has been vital in informing and fueling this development and how we can work closer together. So how did we get here? In 2017, we brought together close to 300 key community leaders in British Columbia to have an open dialogue and conversation around some of the priorities, some of the opportunities, some of the barriers that community-based organizations were experiencing in the delivery of community-based programs and services. You'll see in our conception, we spent time drawing out what communities were telling us. It were priorities, why people felt that coordination and connection were required. One of the key priorities that stemmed out of the 2017 inaugural Provincial Summit on Aging was the need for some type of knowledge hub, an online platform that could bring the hundreds and in some provinces, thousands of partners together who have all dedicated their work in supporting older British Columbians to live actively and healthy in their communities. Since that time, we've engaged in dozens of community consultations. We've got input for over thousands of users into what some of the priorities and the user interface should look like on this particular platform. Over the course of the last couple of years, we've been able to launch Core BC, which we've been able to launch Core Alberta, and we are so excited today with the support of the federal government to launch Core Canada. So where are we at today? In 2021, we have over 2,000 partners and contributors to this online platform. In the last year, we've had 25,000 users that have spanned the seas, in fact, in terms of those that are participating and accessing the platform. And we have been able to curate some of the most promising practices of programs and services offered to older people in their communities across the country. This is an ongoing iterative process. This dynamic platform is built to respond to the evolving needs of communities. And we are committed to continuing our community engagement process to learn, to generate, and to co-create together a platform and a tool that will best meet the needs of the thousands of organizations that do their incredible work day in and day out. I look forward to connecting with each one of you as we move forward on this journey together. And we are hopeful that we'll be able to learn and share together in the future development of the Core platform. It is my distinct honor at this time to introduce someone who is, among other things, an accomplished leader and community advocate, a former regional councillor for the city of Vaughan, and a consummate professional who holds a degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering from Princeton University. Before entering federal political life in 2015, she had 22 years of engineering and business experience with Bombardier. As a leader, she brings people together. The House of Commons unanimously passed her motion to mark June as Italian Heritage Month, and with her leadership as chair, the Environment Committee delivered 2 unanimous reports. As Minister of Seniors, she has worked to improve Canadian seniors' quality of life, delivered one-time payments to help seniors through the COVID-19 pandemic, and strengthened community supports to the New Horizons for Seniors program. Please join me in welcoming the Minister of Seniors, Honourable Deb Schulte.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Kahir. Bon après-midi. I'm honored to be here with you all today. And I would also like to thank Carrie Baisley for that Indigenous Métis welcome and for reminding us to be mindful of our history and for the communities and nature around us that is always supporting us. That is important. We must never forget that. First, I would like to thank the United Way of the Lower Mainland for hosting today's important event. The Government of Canada is proud to work with organizations like yours who partner with others on initiatives to increase seniors' social inclusion and well-being. And I'd also like to recognize the many people who've joined on this call who've been working very hard for seniors in their communities every day. And we have seen numerous names that I recognize and I've had the pleasure to meet popping up in the chat. So welcome to everyone on this event today. I'd also like to recognize the great members of Parliament that from the Metro Vancouver area who are advocating for seniors every day. And I don't know if any of them are on the call with us today, but I know that their hearts and their minds are always with Metro Vancouver because I hear it from them frequently. I also saw the chair of the National Seniors Caucus, Suzanne Dupuis-Blanchard, also on, I saw her pop up in the chat. So I just want to welcome and recognize the hard work that she does on behalf of seniors at the National Seniors Council. And she's been very busy informing and helping inform the government of the impacts of the pandemic and how we can continue to work with organizations around the country to make life better. While the pandemic has been especially hard on everyone, or it's been hard on everyone, it's been especially hard and hardest on seniors. And that's because they've been staying home to stay safe. Things are looking brighter with vaccinations ramping up across Canada. And just some good news, we've delivered over 10 million doses to the provinces and territories so far, and we'll be receiving over 1 million doses a week of the Pfizer vaccine until May. And in addition, we will get those from Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson. All told, we're tentatively expecting over 44 million doses by the end of June. So things are certainly looking up. So that's good news. But we all need to be especially careful about our actions and our choices and be vigilant about how they may affect others in our communities. As everyone waits their turn for vaccines, we all have to do our part to stop the spread of COVID-19. And I know we're all very mindful of that as we see the third wave spiking across the country. But that makes social isolation even more of a concern for seniors than it was before this pandemic. Social isolation, as you have said, has real impacts. And here's a fact. Seniors who are socially isolated make more visits to the emergency rooms, take more medication, fall more often, and enter residential care sooner. As a result, we are taking steps at the government and working with you because I know you're all mindful of this as well. We need to reduce social isolation among seniors. The government has been proud to use the New Horizons for Seniors program to help support seniors' social inclusion and well-being. During the pandemic, we are using the New Horizons to fund over 5,000 community projects across the country that are helping seniors get support and maintain social support network. We know that seniors have many different needs and hopes, and the need to keep supporting them on all fronts is great. Seniors have made a remarkable contribution to our country. The health and the well-being of seniors remains a top priority for the Government of Canada, and we're working to help them stay active and involved in their communities. And that is why I'm delighted today to share with you an announcement from the New Horizons for Seniors program from its pan-Canadian stream. That's the stream that supports multi-year projects that take a collaborative and innovative approach to addressing seniors' issues. So today, I'm proud to join the United Way of the Lower Mainland to officially launch Healthy Aging Core across Canada, funded by $25,000 from the Government of Canada. Congratulations, United Way of the Lower Mainland, for the amazing work that you've been doing over the last few years and now being able to bring it all across Canada. We are really honored to be your partners in this. So CORE stands for Collaborative Online Resources and Education. It's a national online knowledge hub, as you've already heard, that will help organizations access resources, communicate, coordinate, collaborate, and learn from one another so they can better serve seniors. CORE started as a knowledge hub in British Columbia and moved to Alberta, and those provinces have proved how effective it could be at linking staff and volunteers from community groups, serving seniors and leveraging their experience. The new funding from the Government of Canada allows the United Way to take that hub national. Seniors are the foundation of our communities. By supporting New Horizons projects, we're taking action to ensure that seniors continue to have a strong presence in their communities and that they receive recognition and respect that they deserve. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the United Way of Lower Mainland and their many, many partners who have worked very hard over the last several years to make this valuable online resource available now across Canada. Together, we'll be able to continue meeting the needs of Canadian seniors now and into the future. Thank you very much. Merci.
Rob, you're muted, sorry. Rob, you're
Sorry, I'm just talking to myself, which is okay. I do that quite often. I'd like to thank the minister again for taking the time out to be with us today, and for the support of yourself and your government for this fabulous initiative to help seniors organizations and seniors across the country. And thanks again, Minister. Appreciate that very much. And thanks, Kahir, for your great words today as well. We have a quote from Dr. Maureen Dobbins from McMaster University in the McMaster Optimal Aging Portal. We congratulate CORE Canada for launching the national platform. We believe that there are great synergies with the McMaster Optimal Aging Portal, a website that provides the best available evidence on optimal aging. For example, staying active, healthy, and engaged for as long as possible to older adults and their caregivers, clinicians, public health professionals, and health and social systems policymakers. We see CORE as an important resource that will help promote and facilitate communication, collaboration, knowledge sharing and acquisition, and skill building within the community-based senior services CBSS sector. Thank you, Dr. Dobbins, for that. Before I introduce my next guest, I just want to say that Gregor had the great background, virtual background with nice West Coast scene with water and things. My virtual background is one of a busy office that needs to be cleaned up. Just so you know that my office actually doesn't look like that. So I'd like to introduce Gregor Sneddon. Gregor is the Executive Director of HelpAge Canada. He's passionate about building a world that recognizes the sacredness of life, a world where all people can claim their inherent human freedom, potential, and dignity. Since 1975, HelpAge Canada has been working for older persons in Canada and around the world, helping them overcome poverty, claim their rights, challenge discrimination, and lead dignified, secure, and healthy lives. HelpAge Canada is a founding member of HelpAge International and is part of a global network of organizations operating in 85 countries. The HelpAge Canada mission is to work in partnership with others to improve and maintain the quality of life of vulnerable older persons and their communities in Canada around the world. Gregor.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the great introduction, Rob. In fact, I'm sitting here on the shores of Wikwemikong on Manitoulin Island, as you can see here, and really enjoying this beautiful spring weather. it's especially a beautiful time of year for me because I know we're all going to be planting our gardens soon. And the greatest thing about a garden for me is I just really love making stone soup. It's absolutely delicious. And I don't know if you've ever tried it, but the first thing you do is you need to get a big pot. And Kahir, I don't know, do you have a big pot we might be able to borrow?
As we do these days, we can create a virtual pot.
Great. Well, we just need that big pot. And, you know, Barbara, maybe you could find us some nice washed stones. And then we fill that pot with water and we just start to cook those stones. It's delicious. But, you know, to make really good stone soup, you have to be creative and you have to add a little something. Now, I'm pretty sure, Rob, you have a garden, and I'm wondering if maybe you could bring a little something to throw in that soup, like maybe some onions, maybe a few carrots.
Sure.
Awesome. That goes really good with stone soup. And, you know, Carrie, I mean, maybe you have something too you could bring along. And I've heard a rumor that Minister Schulte makes really good homemade pasta. And, you know, stone soup is great with noodles. And Minister Schulte, if you could, oh, excellent. Oh, can't you just taste it? It's going to be great. And maybe all of us know others or friends and family, and maybe they want to join us too and bring something along to really make a great stone soup. It always turns out more than you can imagine or envision. Now, as Rob noted, HelpAge Canada, we work in partnership. That's part of our mission to help vulnerable older people in their communities. And we envision a world where all older people can lead secure, healthy, and active and dignified lives. In Canada, we work in partnership with government, foundations, researchers, policymakers, other charitable organizations, business, service providers, IT and technology providers, rural, urban, local, one-person operations to large national corporations. We work with all kinds of Canadians across different sectors to help older people. Whether that's through providing home-cooked meals for isolated seniors in government housing neighborhood in St. John's, Newfoundland, or supporting pan-Canadian research and development for accessible transportation for seniors, or installing lifeline services and technology for chronically ill seniors in Selkirk, Manitoba, providing access to technology and digital literacy with United Way of BC, or intergenerational digital literacy with elders and youth in Nunavut, or serving a fresh market produce for seniors in Montreal, or mattresses for seniors with spinal injuries in Ontario, and so on and so on. But there's only one way to do all of that, and that's together, as a community, as a village. Now, the core platform is really kind of like that big pot, with the stones being our shared intention to help older people age in place, to age with dignity. But it's all of us that come together with what we have from our gardens that will achieve what we set out to create. And together, it will become more than we can ask or imagine. The needs of each person are unique, and there's no single solution, no single organization, including the government, who is going to fix everything. No one ingredient that can address the needs of the whole person in the symphony of context and individual expression of older people across our great country. So it's just so exciting to be part of this launch of the Pan-Canadian Core Platform, because together we're going to do great things. And you know, there's that great saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to make good stone soup. And it takes a village to age with dignity. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Gregor. That was fabulous, inspirational. And I will have to try that soup recipe for sure.
Counting on those onions.
I have a few words from Helen McDonald, Executive Director for the Nova Scotia Community Links. Helen said, COVID-19 reminds us that community is key, connection is critical, collaboration is essential, and communication makes everything possible. Core Canada raised this to a new level by creating a C2C means of sharing what we know, do, and aspire to become in the realm of healthy aging. Thanks, Helen, for that. So now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Barbara McMillan, who's a Provincial Community Engagement Coordinator for the United Way of Lower Mainland. Barbara, was instrumental in helping Core Alberta get off and running, and to do some consulting for us over the past year on how we can make it better. So Barbara, sorry I don't have more to say about you, but thank you for everything you've done for us in Alberta, and take it away.
Thanks, Rob, and welcome to Health Aging Core Canada, everyone. We're going to give you a bit of a tour so that when you go to the site and start looking around and then eventually join, you'll have had some orientation and be feeling pretty comfortable with it. But as you've heard, the Core platform will connect local, provincial, and national agencies that focus on programs, services, policies, practices, and research aimed at supporting older Canadians to live independently as they age. While anyone who comes across Core will be able to see some basic features on the site, Core's target audience is not individuals looking for general information on seniors programs or services in their area. So we want to make sure that they're directed to the 211 line in their province. Rather, Core is for those who are working, volunteering, researching, or studying in the areas of healthy aging and aging in place, and who are connected with nonprofits, any level of government, provincial and national agencies, academic institutions, and/or coalitions, because Core is not just a website for accessing information and resources. It's a platform designed to encourage and support connecting, sharing information, discussion, and collaboration among users, with the goal of improving policies, programs, and practices. And many Core users will be older adults themselves who work, volunteer, sit on boards, study, teach, advise, and lead. Those of you familiar with Core BC and Core Alberta will see many of the same site features, but Core Canada will have a few new elements and, of course, content that is of pan-Canadian relevance and interest. The homepage provides an overview of all key areas. You can access them from the menu at the top or at the bottom, or scroll down where you'll see some of the latest content in those areas, such as resources, training and events, and groups you've joined. You'll also see another link to community programs, followed by sections on research and knowledge mobilization, allied and partner organizations, healthy aging social innovation collaborations, toolkits, and funding opportunities. Lower down is news, with a headline and summary you can click on to take you to the full story. At the bottom of the homepage, you'll find a place to sign up for the Core Canada newsletter, which will start next month, as well as all of the subject areas or tags by which we categorize information and content on Core. And here is also where you can connect to Core BC and Core Alberta to see what's happening in those provinces and networks. You can also select from among the Core networks at the top of the homepage. So let's take a look at the resource area. All resources on Core are curated to ensure they're relevant, current, evidence-based, and from reputable sources. They're tagged so they're searchable by topic, title, and source, as well as in French, but you can also just scroll through and explore what's there. We invite submissions, which you can send to us through the contact link or upload yourself, and they'll be vetted before being published on Core. Core Canada's focus is on resources of interest to a cross-Canada audience. There are many materials specific to a particular province or territory and of more narrow interest, and these will not be suitable for Core Canada. But we also know there's much to be gained by accessing information from various parts of the country, and we can all learn from each other. So we'll be including materials that could be significant in this regard. The same goes for training and events. Webinars, workshops, conferences, symposia, and other training and events featured on Core will be mainly those of a non-regional nature, and these can be seen on the calendar as well as on a searchable list you can select from the drop-down menu. And again, submissions are welcomed. We never want to lose sight of what Core is all about and how we can connect what's happening on the ground in communities across Canada with each other and with those working at different levels. Here, we feature programs from various parts of the country focused on important activities such as nutritional supports, intergenerational connections, physical activity, mental health, and more. This is just a small sampling of the important work and impact of the sector, and a place to learn about innovative programs and initiatives underway, ones that could even potentially be replicated elsewhere. And we'll continue to add to these and would love to hear about innovative and effective programs from every province and territory in both French and English. I'm going to go back to the home page and look at groups where these are, this is a feature where those with more specific interests can interact, share information and resources, have discussions, ask questions, plan projects, and develop formal or informal communities of practice. These groups can be open to anyone or closed and only accessible to those who are invited. To participate in groups, you'll need to join CORE, which you can do starting next week when we've made some adjustments to allow for some important new features, such as a regular digest system for notifications of new content in groups. And we'll be sending an email to everyone registered for today's event to let you know when you can actually sign up to join CORE, with basic instructions on what is really a very simple process. Like everything else on CORE, content in the group area will be user-driven and responsive to the interests and submissions from the target audience. We'll start with groups on topics such as age-friendly communities and New Horizons projects, where participants can share their stories, tools they've developed, or resources they found helpful, and learn from each other. We'll also have a Francophone group where organizations can connect and share in French. A tech corner will share ideas, solutions, and evidence-based and emerging practices, and explore common links and synergies in using technology as a tool to better assist and support older adults to live independently in their communities. And there'll be a group for those interested in rethinking aging, where tools and discussions can consider ageism and explore how we can shift thinking to view aging through a more realistic, asset, and evidence-based lens. Other groups will be created based on opportunities and priorities indicated by users. Thus, like all content on the site, it will be dynamic, emergent, and always growing and changing so that it's current and relevant. So before we end the tour, I'll briefly touch on other features on the homepage that are important to CORE's goal of effective knowledge mobilization and sector and network development. Funding opportunities links to a page that lists relevant funding calls and information at a national level. We're currently building out this section and aiming for it to be a comprehensive source for the sector, as we know that funding is an ongoing challenge for many organizations. Research and knowledge mobilization is where research and practice can be bridged by sharing information on research conferences, symposia, webinars, and other learning opportunities, sharing opportunities for community participation in research, featuring relevant action research projects, and highlighting new sector research. Healthy Aging Social Innovation collaborations profiled on CORE provide examples of important work being undertaken by the sector that involves changing prevailing practices and policies, and even whole structures and systems of service delivery. And toolkits on a range of topics relevant to healthy aging that have been developed and field tested can be more broadly disseminated through CORE for use and/or adaptation in other communities. And lastly, allied and partner organizations are featured. The many organizations that share their expertise through information, resources, programs, research, partnerships, and in some cases, funding. CORE is a way for provincial and national agencies to expand their reach and make it easier to get information out to those directly connected with older adults in communities across the country. And it's a way for those local organizations to learn about what is available provincially, nationally, and even internationally. We want to stress that the idea is not to duplicate or compete with other sites, organizations, or networks. Rather, it's to connect, complement, and cross-promote so that ultimately, CORE is a network of networks aimed at efficient access to and dissemination of information throughout the sector. Many of the allied and partner organizations listed here have been instrumental to developing CORE, and we really appreciate their input in getting CORE Canada to this stage. And we know that there are many more agencies that will join this list, and we're looking forward to connecting with them. Just organizing for this event and for the impact video that some of you will have viewed before we started the program today was a tremendous opportunity for us to meet, in many cases for the first time, organizations across the country that share our vision of supporting older adults to remain at home and in community as they age. And we're really excited to have made those connections. And as I mentioned, we're really just getting started. And over the next year, we'll be growing the site, adding much more content and some new features. And to do that, we'll be engaging with all of you to hear about and improve your user experience, get your feedback and ideas, and to learn from, build on, and expand on the immense knowledge and assets that exist in this sector, all in support of aging at home in community. So that ends our tour this morning, but I encourage you to get on CORE and explore. And as I mentioned, you'll actually be able to join fairly soon so that you can get involved in groups and let us know what other groups you'd like to see on CORE, because that's where coordination and collaboration and a lot more of the learning will take place. A huge thank you to Employment and Social Development Canada for supporting this vision, and to all the agencies, large and small, that have contributed to CORE's development and to this launch event. And thank you to United Way colleagues in Alberta and BC for so much valuable support and guidance in bringing CORE to life, both provincially in Alberta and BC and nationally. And before I turn it back to you, Rob, thank you so much for your involvement in the first provincial replication of CORE and for emceeing this launch event today. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Barb. And, thank you very much again for all the work that you and your team have done to bring this to fruition and to help us in Alberta. And on that note, we do have a few words from Karen Young, the President and CEO of United Way of Calgary and area. Since its launch in May 2020, CORE Alberta has done essential work bringing community-based senior serving organizations and systems partners together from across the province to share guidance, knowledge, and inspiration at a critical time. CORE Canada will provide a space to connect as a community-driven national network and spark collaboration and innovation where it might not have been possible before. Thanks for those words, Karen. Appreciate that very much. Now we're actually just about right on time, and we have time set aside for a media question and answer facilitated by the Minister's Communications Director, Scott Barsley. After which I'll do a wrap up. We have one more slide, and we'll thank everyone for coming. But Scott, if we have questions, why don't we move it over to you?
Thanks, Rob. Hi, I'm Scott Bartley, the Minister Schulte's Director of Communications. We'll now hold a short media availability for any interested media on the line. If you'd like to ask a question, please state your name and organ outlet, and then you'll have one question supplemental. So without further ado, please go ahead.
Am I working now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Hello, my name is Mike Robar. I'm a reporter with Guardian in Charlottetown, PEI. So I suppose my first question, I don't know who would be the best to direct it to, but I noticed lots of people from all over the country in the chat there, but I don't see anyone from PEI. So I wonder, are there any organizations so far lined up to participate in CORE?
Perfect. I think Kahir or Barbara, if you could take that.
Yes, we do have representation from all provinces and territories on this call, and we have engaged organizations from all provinces and territories in the curation of content for the platform. And so there are a number of people responding to your comment right now on the chat from PEI, as well as other maritime provinces, Quebec, and our territories.
Thank you, Kahir.
Questions, Mike?
Yeah, I suppose it's mentioned a few times about great results in BC and Alberta with the rollouts there initially, but I wonder if I could get any more specifics as far as concrete benefits to older Canadians.
Kahir, are you able to take that one?
Yeah, I think there's so many different perspectives in how we can look at this. We've seen organizations come together to collaborate, to share best practice, to share innovation. We've seen small villages share practices on programming who have benefited older adults in their communities that live on separate coasts, for example. We've seen different types of rural communities come together to collaborate on program and service delivery. We've seen the integration of the health services sector and the community services sector come together to provide a more smoother transition of support and care between community, home, and healthcare. And so there are different ways in which we could look at the tangible impact it's having on the lives of older people, including hearing from older people themselves and listening to their guidance and vision in the development of our programs and services.
I could just add a point, and I didn't want to jump in at first because you know you guys are leading the project, and I thought you know you would be best to speak to the you know the real results on the ground. But I can also add that I have been hearing from organizations and from seniors that have benefited from the connections that you've been able to make between organizations that had different expertise. You know, some may have had expertise in serving vulnerable seniors, but they didn't have the expertise in terms of the technology, where there are other groups that had the expertise in terms of, you know, technology and running programs on, you know, with Zoom and others. And they were able to then hook up with the organizations that were serving those vulnerable seniors, bring that expertise to the table and provide those seniors the support that they needed. And I've seen students that were looking for a place to go and help and support during the pandemic, recognizing the challenges that seniors were having and wanted to step up and do something. These were university students, and in some cases we have high school students who are stepping up to serve vulnerable seniors in the community. They didn't know where to go or who to talk to, and they were able to go and look at resources and see where they could connect with. So this is the power of having a platform where people can go and find who's doing these things and how can they help. And so that's what I've been hearing, and that's why I'm so pleased to be you know, able to support programs like this, because they are incredibly powerful. And they've made a big difference, especially over the last year, in being able to mobilize people to be able to support our very vulnerable seniors during this time. Thank you.
Sorry, the other thing too that we've seen in Alberta is because we started Core Alberta during the pandemic, a lot of the discussions that we had were about how to respond to the pandemic for seniors. How do we deal with social isolation issues? How do we deal with reopening issues of community-based facilities? Having those great discussions, and how does that track with the work that we do with seniors? So I believe that we haven't done any outcome measures as yet on what that means. However, we do know from our work on the ground that the core has actually helped the kind of work that we do.
I'd like to just add to that. One of the things that we've certainly seen in BC, and I think in Alberta, and we've already seen happening as we reached out to organizations across the country for developing Core Canada, is that so many organizations that have been focused in specific areas like transportation or like supporting newcomers, you know, immigrant older adults, or for housing. And Core helps them find out what else is out there, because it's kind of getting out of silos. When we do our work, often it's, you know, everybody's so busy, and the nature of the way things are organized is a focus in a particular area. But these things are also interconnected. And when we've worked with different intercultural and interfaith groups, certainly programs around nutritional supports and programs around housing are really important, that those consider cultural aspects. And so Core is that tool or that platform that allows all of these different groups to be able to connect and find, you know, learn from each other and find ways that they can work more effectively and really help develop programs that are going to meet the needs of different, particularly vulnerable seniors from different communities.
Great. I don't see any other hands raised. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Rob.
Great, thanks, Scott, and thanks, Michael, for the questions. So before I do a wrap up, we have one more testimonial slide, and we'd like to roll that right now. It's from Dr. Lee Vanderloo, who's the Knowledge Translation Manager for Participation.
Hi, my name is Dr. Lee Vanderloo, and I wanted to extend a huge congratulations to the Healthy Aging Center for Online Resources and Education on their recent national launch. This is such tremendous news. In the coming weeks, months, and years, we look forward to the opportunity to continue to collaborate with the center to help find different and innovative ways to help support healthy active aging and to help Canadian adults age better with physical activity.
Great. So, all right. So there's the website link right there, and also with email address for Barbara. So what I want to say is I want to really thank everybody that was here today. I want to thank our presenters for helping us launch Core Canada. I want to thank everybody that showed up. There were over 230 people signed up for this today. And I want to thank Mike and Jean from United Way of Lower Mainland for being our tech support behind the scenes, making sure everything runs smoothly. I've been on a lot of these, and if you don't have good tech support, everything falls apart. So thanks for you two and your teams for helping us launch this so seamlessly today. Very much for that. And I have one last word. The collaboration is so important these days, and especially the fact that we can have an event like this online, and we can have this discussion with people across the country. And I want you to know that a small city of Lethbridge, Alberta, in our collaborative effort during for COVID, was recognized by the World Health Organization during World Cities Days for the work that we did with 50 organizations and 150 participants from every human service sector you could think of, worked together for months and months. Actually, right now, we've continued that work in order to serve our community better. So collaboration works, partnership works, and platforms like Core Canada go a long way in helping us pull that together. So I'd like to invite everybody to watch the video again. Thanks again to everybody for coming today. And go Core Canada.